Hey guys, I just thought I would show you this real quick. We have black squirrels in this part of the country, which is pretty cool. But we also have regular squirrels. I guess there's lots of different kinds of squirrels, but I always grew up just seeing this kind of squirrel. I don't know what he's eating. And I think that the black ones are just super cool and very unique to the Midwest, especially where I live in Iowa and very far in the eastern part of Nebraska. So just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was pretty cool. But welcome back. This is Vicki with my newly relabeled Garden Evolution channel. I just left off about an hour ago on this portion of my garden. I wanted to show you just one thing that I missed over here, which is I have this pretty little potted big leaf hydrangea. I think it's called something Jangles. Or no, this one is Lovable. Let's Dance Lovable, maybe? These names that they pick are so crazy, I swear. And then this is kind of like my little garden holding area where I put stuff before I decide where I'm planting it, or stuff that I've pulled out. All of these delphinium here are going to get planted. This is two tiger eye sumac that I pulled out, and then I'll explain why in just a second. And then I have some clearance Japanese ferns back there that I need to get planted back in my bog garden. And then this is a gold bar miscanthus that I got on clearance, and I'm not sure if I'm going to plant that because I just read that it's invasive in some areas, including the Midwest, which is where I live. So I should have researched that before I bought it. Anyway, the tiger eye sumac, I pulled those out because I just watched a video from Garden Answer, you know, Laura, and she showed a large area where they had planted tiger eyes sumac, and oh my god, you guys, like a nightmare. They were spreading really badly, setting up shoots like, you know, 5 feet, 10 feet away, and I was just like, oh heck no, I cannot have that happening in my garden. So out they come. It's unfortunate because they are a native, and I'm all for supporting natives, but I don't have a large enough area or property to have something that's just going to be taking over like that. So yeah, sadly they had to come out. Also, I realized after I left my last video, I had to kind of cut it short because my daughter had an orthodontist appointment, but there was a couple more hydrangeas that I just recently planted that I wanted to point out. So this one right here is the Ruby Slippers oak leaf hydrangea. Doesn't have any blooms yet, but you can see the oak leaf shaped leaves, and that's what, you know, makes them really cool. Plus they're native, plus they get amazing fall color, so I'm super excited about that one. Then here I have a little lime hydrangea, and that's just a new type for me that I haven't grown before. Those are a panicle, so not native. This one is a Invincible Mini Mauvette, and this is considered a native for me. It's a smooth hydrangea. Alright, so that covered the hydrangeas that I recently planted. And then I also missed telling you about this smoke bush, which I just think has the most beautiful foliage. I need more of that dark color. I have the 9 bark that's down there that I showed you guys, but it's really small. Alright, so moving on to a different area of my garden. I want to show you my little rose garden that's finally getting some blooms, and all of the roses are fairly small because I planted almost all of them last fall. But there's a couple that are 2 years old. Anyway, moving over here, we've got my little astilbe area. Various kinds of astilbe here. Mostly it'll be like pink and white type blooms. I've got a couple, well, a few of begonias. I just started this year putting in some annuals. I've never ever done annual bedding plants. I mean, this is literally the first time. I'm a huge fan of perennials personally. I think they're prettier, and I like the fact that they come back every year and that they get bigger and better over time. And buying annuals every year, just not something I really ever saw myself doing. Also, I just don't think that they're as pretty, but begonias have really grown on me. So I have planted some begonias. Plus, you can pull up the roots and store them over winter where I live, and then put them back out again. So if I put through the effort, I'm not sure that I will, but if I were to put forth the effort, I could possibly, grow my begonia collection, so to speak. This vine right here is a sweet autumn clematis, and it will grow pretty quickly. I just planted that last year, but eventually it will grow all the way up, and then I want to run some this way and this way. They get these beautiful white flowers in like August time, and I think it would look really romantic, kind of, climbing up my porch there. This hosta that only has like one leaf, that is an Empress Wu. It had more leaves, but we had a hailstorm. So the part of the country that I live in recently had two really, really huge tornadoes come through, not far from where I live at all. So I'm blessed that my house was not hit, but we did get two significant hailstorms. So a lot of my hydrangeas are super small, and that's because I've cut them way back. I'm just gonna have to let them regrow. So I planted recently some lamium ground cover in here. I really like the silver. It makes all the other plants around it pop. So that's what I'm doing there. We have some pink veronica growing here. These are all different types of lily, oriental lily mostly, but I've added some other pink, I don't know, they might be Asiatic, I'm not really sure. I tried something new here this year. I'm planting all of my elephant ears that I overwintered in my garage. So some of them are still just coming up there, and I know I have one more like in that area. But yeah, they're looking really great. Here's some more that are coming up right here in the front. I really like elephant ears, and this part will stay somewhat shaded most of the day, and then it gets like some late afternoon sun. But I don't think it's going to be too much for the elephant ears. I don't think it's going to burn them. So hopefully they'll like it there. And then that's just something that I'll either have to let die or pull up in the late fall or beginning of winter. Got some pink begonias here that I planted. Another pink veronica. This is a sprinter boxwood. I think I want to shape that a little bit, but I keep going back and forth if I'm just letting it grow naturally or if I want to make it more ball shapes like these other little shrubs that I have in the front. This plant looking kind of terrible, but I did transplant it this spring, and I just think maybe it's still taking time to adapt and get it established, and then obviously there's some sort of bug eating it. But this is a Aphrodite sweet shrub. I think that's what it's called. Here I have a little rose called Sweet Peggy. There's no blooms on it yet. I actually just transplanted it from over there where I don't think it was getting enough sun to over here. And the second reason that I moved it is because the color of its flower is like this deep berry red, which is similar. This one is more like a maroonish berry red, but I think these two will look nice together. Plus this rose it's kind of a prostate or ground drift type rose, I think. It doesn't get so like big and tall, but it will get like long stalks. Anyway, this plant will get big and tall. It can get up to like 10 feet tall. So I think that these two are going to look nice together. That's why I put it there. I have some iris here. I've said this on many other videos. These iris that are planted in the front, I don't know if they're going to be purple, yellow, white. I have no idea. I got these for free off of Facebook last year, and the person that I got them from had just bought a new home, moved into the home, and she had something different planned for this bed, and so she was giving away the iris, and I just happened to be the one who got them. So I'll be surprised when they do bloom and let us know what they're going to look like. But, you know, I love surprises. If I feel that it doesn't work for this particular bed, I'll just move them elsewhere. But that's what's going on there. Since I was adding some annuals, I did go ahead and add a few other things, like here's some white impatiens. I did that because this garden here doesn't have a lot of color, and I think I want to do pink and white for the theme of this area. Okay, these roses. These are Pretty in Pink Eden Climbing Roses. You can see how enormous these blooms are, and so they are really heavy. Plus we've had these, like I said, those major hailstorms and stuff came through, so maybe a tad bit droopier than they would normally be. But once these get long enough, I'll start attaching them up to my porch railing here, and they will be beautiful. And even if they are tipping down a little bit, or they'll be facing toward us, not going to really matter. But I can't believe how big those blooms are. And every bud, like this is, I knew they were going to be huge, even though I hadn't grown these before, because the buds are really big. So yeah, they're really beautiful. All right. This is a little boxwood, some more of that iris. This is a second Pretty in Pink Eden Climbing Rose. So this one's already starting to send up a long cane that I'll be able to arch over here. I always forget to kind of show the whole thing because I feel like that gives a better impression of what's going on as I'm explaining. Oh, another thing I want to mention, I can't remember if I mentioned this in my videos before. See how this garden is like angled like this? This was the original bed that I laid. It was my very first flower bed actually. And I just followed the shape of the porch and I liked it for a long time. But then I added this bed over here, and how this one is just swooping around in one straight line kind of. I like this better. And so what I want to do over here is I want to extend this one out. If you can like follow my finger along like this and go that way. And so I want this bed to get deeper, not because I need more garden space, although clearly I will be happy to plant more plants. But the reason that I want to do that is so that it matches the other side. And then what I'm going to be ending up with, instead of having this wider section of lawn, is just kind of like a wide walking lane is what I'm picturing here going through the front yard. And I think that'll be really pretty. So coming over here, this is my black lace elderberry shrub, which is starting to get really big and beautiful. The flowers are nearing their end, but they were really pretty. They kind of look creamier white right now, but when they first come out, they're like a pink color, and just really pretty, really charming lace cap flowers. Sorry about my air conditioner sound there in the background. I installed this fountain here a couple days ago, and the pump isn't working, so I need to contact the buyer or the seller on Amazon and see if I can get a new pump. But I think it looks cute. I might even move it forward. So since I'm going to be moving this bed out, it's going to actually come out like, you know, further, like I said, like around here. And so I might move this fountain further out anyway. But for now, that's kind of where I have it. And the reason that I put a fountain there was, I think it'll look pretty, but also to help disguise maybe a little bit the sound of my air conditioner. And I'm planning on doing another bed inside that garden on the other side of this little lattice fencing. But multiple things going on here. I've got some little white salvias planted. Those will just be annuals, I think. This is a sprinter boxwood. I've got another rose here that's called John Cabot Climbing Rose, and that's going to get some pretty bright pink flowers. And then behind this fountain, I have a New Dawn Climbing Rose. Oh, it actually has a bloom on it. Let's walk back there. It looks white right now, but they start out a light pink. So I thought it would be a nice contrast between the light pink climbing roses of the New Dawn And then I'm going to mix the bright, bright pink of the John Cabot rose and mix those in together. Climbing on that lattice. These right here are phlox. I think it's 2 different kinds. This rose is called Princess Charlene de Monaco. I don't have any open yet, but lots of buds. This was just planted last fall. Back there in that corner, there's a new plant that I've never grown before. It's called Elegant Feather. So it gets pretty tall, and it just keeps this kind of like ferny foliage. I'm gonna try to zoom in so you can see it. But I think it will help hide the hose and still leave that corner accessible. I have to, as you can see, I've got like a power thing back there, so I've got to leave that where the utility people can get to it. I have some little Cosmo seedlings that have popped up in there, so that's what this other ferny foliage is. And then going back, I just transplanted this rose right here. It's called Bolero. It gets white, very, very fragrant flowers, but it stays fairly short. So I thought it would look nice in front of that Princess Charlene de Monaco, which is going to have pink blooms, and then have that white one there right in front of it. And then again, that's just kind of adding to this bed that's going to be expanding out this way. Over here, this one with the smaller pink blooms is called Bonica. It's looking a little bit tattered. Again, we had these storms come through, and I also transplanted that one from over there where my elephant ears are now planted. I moved that down here so it could get more sun. We're still in the morning hours, so this part isn't really lit up yet, but in about another hour, this entire part of my yard will be lit up and it'll be full sun the rest of the day. So this is part of my rose garden over here. These bushy ones you see here are dahlias. Oh, and this is a native that I just transplanted, and it's called Meadowsweet, I think. Also, I believe it's called Spirea alba, is its scientific name. All right, so there's that part of my rose garden. Now on the opposite side, I also have roses going on. This white one right here that has lots of blooms, this is like its 3rd year. This is one of my only mature roses, so this is an iceberg. I have 2 down here that I've explained this before. I don't know what their names are. These were the rootstock of grafted roses, and the top part died. And now what I have are these roses that come out kind of a corally pink. But I think that they're really beautiful. And so, even though I don't know what their names are, it's okay. I still like them. All right. This pink one right here is Jacques Cartier David Austin Rose. This one is Distant Drums. I haven't seen any of its flowers yet, but it does have some buds. Just planted that last fall. That one right up there is Star of Republic. It just has one small bud on it right now. Also planted last fall. That rose, I did smell one bloom that I already cut off, and it was so fragrant. I mean, amazing fragrance. Same with this one right here. This is Raspberry Bouquet, or no, Raspberry Cupcake. I just planted this about, gosh, a couple weeks ago. It was Mother's Day, whenever that was. And that was a gift to myself. And God, the fragrance, so good. I cannot wait for all these flowers to be in bloom. This one right here is Lady of Shalott, or Lady Shalott. I don't currently have any blooms on it. It has had a couple. It's also getting, I don't know if this is insect damage or if this is from the hailstorms that we had, but it's just looking kind of harsh. I need to go through and I think fertilize all my roses. Yeah, this is the only bloom it had, and it's completely falling off. But if you haven't seen these before, it's a David Austin Rose. Very strong grower, very fragrant, and they're an orange color.
On this row right here, they're still really small, so you can barely see them, but in between every rose, I planted a small lavender. I got those on clearance. And so it's gonna be like rose, lavender, going all the way down. This orange one right here, I lost the tag, and I'm still in the process of going through my my mail orders from last year, because I ordered these online, and looking for the names. I've got to basically like process of elimination, figure out what this is, but I think it might be called Abbe de Cluny or something like that. So I will update you guys as soon as I figure that out. This one is called Phantom Latour, and it's not really put on much growth yet. Just planted last fall. I don't see any buds. It's really kind of looking bad. Like I said, I need to go through and really fertilize all my roses. This one is Tuesday McMains. This has had a couple of blooms already, and they were absolutely gorgeous, kind of an apricot color. And here's another bud. When they open up, I don't know how to describe, it's like this loose, ruffly flower. So gorgeous. Oh my goodness. This one here is Quietness. They're a very light pink, and they are extremely pretty when they first open. My only complaint with this flower so far is that it drops its petals really quickly. So, you know, it might be on there for, I don't know, a couple of days, and then it just falls apart. But very pretty blooms. I'm sure once it has like an abundance of them, it won't really be an issue. But that's been my experience so far. Okay, well, that covers the rose garden. What else can I show you that's up here? These two plants over here are both lilac shrubs. This one is I think it's called Little Kim or Lil Kim. And this one, I don't remember. I want to say it might be a bloomerang. But this one should be bigger. It has not bloomed for me yet. This one has bloomed a couple times, or a couple years in a row now. So I'm hoping this one just needs another year of growth, and then it'll start blooming. But what I want to do with this one is eventually make it a tree form. So I'm going to limb up all the lower, limbs off, and just have like a canopy over here. And this one I'll just let grow in a normal shrub form. I've got these two giant spirea here. I don't know if you saw my earlier videos, but I cut these basically completely back to the ground, and this is how they've fleshed out beautifully. So I'm planning to do that every year, because they're so big anyway that, by the beginning of June, this is what they look like, and they're blooming, even though I cut off all the dead. And I did that probably in April, I'm guessing. Right here in between them is a newly transplanted elderberry shrub. This is a native, and it is the species type. So basically just what that means is that it's going to be very big, and it's not going to be as attractive as, say, my black lace elderberry, which is right there. But I believe if I did my research correctly, this one and that one over there will cross-pollinate each other, so that I should get berries. They have to bloom at the same time of year, basically, in order for that to work, and I think that they do. So I planted it because it's a native. I planted it because I like elderberry shrubs. They get those really beautiful, huge lace cap panicle type flowers, and then they get the berries for the native wildlife and all that stuff. So that's what I was going after. And then this one, same thing as with this lilac. I plan to, once it gets big enough, cut out all the lower offshoots, so that it's not a shrub appearance. It's more of a canopy over these spirea. All right, I'm gonna leave off here, and then I'm gonna do one more video for my terrace garden. So I'm gonna walk down below.